Hello, Wesley United Methodist Church family. I am here to give the 2024 Annual Conference Report. The Rio, Texas Annual Conference, June the 6th through the 8th, 2024. American Bank Center in Corpus Christi, Texas. 10th session of the United Methodist Rio, Texas Conference, Bishop Robert Snazy presiding. Theme, letters R and E, and words that begin with R-E, such as remember, renew, reprieve, rejoice, revere, resurrection, refresh, renovare, rekindle, revive, restore, and reflexionary. The scripture, will you not revive us again, that your people may rejoice in you? Psalms 85:6. As delegate of Wesley United Methodist Church, I want to welcome Pastor Chase back as our pastor, leader, and a true disciple of Jesus Christ. We thank God for blessing Reverend Chase and Wesley for another year together to do His will and His work. On Wednesday, June the 5th, I registered at the Omni Hotel and the American Bank Center for the conference. Those present from Wesley was Brother Chuck McGarity, Charles Murphy, Anya Jones, and Pastor Chase, and myself. Thursday, June the 6th, annual conference began at 9 a.m. The first plenary session was in the Water Garden A upstairs instead of Exhibition Hall B downstairs because of the size of the conference this year. Each session began with a call to order and prayer. This year, there were 85 churches disaffiliated from the Rio, Texas Conference. A resolution approving separation from the United Methodist Church was approved for 4 churches. And in this resolution it said, those United Methodist churches set forth below have requested to separate from the United Methodist Church, and following the provisions for closure established in 2549 of the Book of Discipline 2016, as amended at the special call session of the General Conference in 2019, at least 2/3 of the professing members present and voting at a duly called church conference of each church voted to separate from the United Methodist Church. And in each instance, the designated district superintendent had certified that each church was in full compliance with the provisions of 2549, and each church has fully complied with the procedures established by the United Methodist Rio, Texas Conference Board of Trustees for closure separation, and the Conference Board of Trustees has promulgated a written agreement to separate. Resolution that an executed agreement to close and separate between the United Methodist Rio Texas Conference Board of Trustees and each church regarding separation from the United Methodist Church has been received and is hereby approved, and the local church has fully paid all monies due under the terms of the agreement to separate. Following the approval of this resolution, the corporate officers of the United Methodist Rio Texas Conference Board of Trustees are hereby authorized to execute a release of trust clause and grant without warranty, releasing the trust clause and all property to the local church's new entity effective on the separation and closure date. That we give thanks for this congregation and ask for God's blessings upon the continued ministry. And those churches were Principal La Paz United Methodist Church of Donna, Texas, Valley Praise United Methodist Church of Hollingen, First United Methodist Church of Johnson City, and Petite United Methodist Church of Petite, Texas. The resolution was read, voted, and approved. The first plenary session in the garden was, the resolution was approved for the 4 churches, and the bishop began his message. He chose to speak about the letters R, E, and words that begin with them. The superintendent shall not penalize any clergy for performing same-sex marriages. The conference will go from 7 districts to 3, and that will be voted on later in the conference. In 2023, 73 churches of the Rio Texas Conference achieved 5-star mission giving status, a decrease from 2022 of 43 churches. Wesley United Methodist Church was one of the churches receiving 5-star recognition of the Capital District. And of the Capital District, Wesley was one of 10 churches. There are 220 churches left in the Rio Texas Conference, and the conference staff will be cut from 33 members to 21 members. The bishop asked the question, what do we lift up and lay aside in the church? We need to listen to people. After the bishop's message, we had open worship and communion. Then the laity went for lunch break. They had several food stations at the American Bank Center, so we didn't have to leave. From 12:30 p.m. to 1:15 was the laity session. Alerted what the conference, and we talked about what the conference was going to be about, the voting that we had to do, and all that was taking place in our concerns. At 1:30, the second plenary session of the General Conference report, Reverend James Emerson gave a report for the General Conference. 3 bishops were selected in Houston, Texas, and 11 churches in Signature's ministry to reinvent themselves. They wanted to focus on staying with the United Methodist Church and trying to see how they can move forward. On November the 3rd, which will be Harvest Sunday, a day of service to the community by giving. Teaching Session 1, Dr. Ashley Boggin, Rebirth, Reaching Back to Reclaim That Which Has Been Lost in Order to Move Forward. Wesleyan Vitality, a willingness to look beyond today. Wesleyan Way of Salvation, preventing grace, justifying grace, sanctifying grace, holiness, and new birth. These are ways to rebirth our ministries. On Friday, June the 7th, we begin at 8:45 a.m. The third plenary session. Begin with a call to order and prayer. More reports were given and the nomination slate to be voted on later. Teaching Session 2, Dr. Ashley Boggin. Methodist is one who has love, person full of hope. Methodist is a Christian not in name only, but in heart and life. Advice to the people called Methodists. Number 1, you are a new people. Number 2, do not imagine that you can avoid giving offense. Number 3, trust God with your all, then go on in the power of God's might. Number 4, keep in your path and be true to your principles. Number 5, not to talk much of what you suffer, speak of God's love instead. Do not be afraid to defend people. We need to speak up. We need to tell our story. Stop complaining and talk about the goodness of God. Ask yourself, though we can't think alike, may we not love alike? Methodists, move forward as the new, imageable Methodist Church. We need not be afraid to be talked about in the community. Community engagement streams within the Rio, Texas Conference. So Wesley, we need to continue to reach out. Let's not give up. Continue to reach out in our community to bring others to the house of the Lord. (12 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. I attended the United Women in Faith luncheon. Also attending were Anya Jones, Wesley United Women in Faith President, and Pastor Chase. Speakers were Tina Baer, Wesley nurse, and Lisa Pandora, Wesley nurse. After lunch break, we went into our fourth plenary session, teaching time, with the Reverend Dr. Tanya Campen. Focus on the word, reimagine, related to children. 0 to 12 years of age. What are God's dreams for the children in our congregation and community? If we are not paying attention to children, we are missing God's living into our baptismal covenant. There are 3 theological views: love, ambivalent, and high in working with children. High view ensures children are visible, valued, and included. While talking to other delegates during this session, I was told the congregation didn't have children or they weren't included in their worship service. Wesley, we are blessed that we have children and parents that are willing to work and they're leaders with our children. On Friday, the United Women in Faith Luncheon, and then on July the 12th, 2004, Mission Youth would be at Oxford United Methodist Church in San Antonio, Texas. November the 1st through the 2nd, 2024, annual meeting and leadership development event. 10th anniversary of the Jubilee celebration at Lake Travis United Methodist Church. Legislative event will be 2025. Hope, Miraculous Expectations. January the 26th through the 28th, 2025, Austin, Texas, at the Holiday Inn of Midtown. This was presented by the Texas United Women in Faith in partnership with Texas Impact. We are blessed to have the children, their leaders, the congregation, and Pastor Chase, and most of all, their parents, for encouraging and welcoming them to be involved in the church. On Saturday, we had a call to order in prayer. 9 a.m., the 5th plenary session, the nomination slate was presented and voted and approved. Addendum, conference district goes from 7 to 3 on July the 1st, 2025. Brother Chuck McGarity voted and approved to go to South Central Jurisdictional Conference. Date and location of 2025 annual conference will be June the 12th through the 14th, 2025, Corpus Christi, Texas. It doesn't matter where you start, but that you start. And this is what the bishop kept repeating over and over during the conference, that we must begin somewhere reaching out to our community and others. Then on Saturday, we had the fixing of appointments. I want to say to Wesley, thank you, family, for giving me the opportunity to be your delegate at this annual conference. Thank you, and God bless.